Hey everyone, welcome to the realest podcast on the internet. I'm Smash Mama and I'm joined by the magnificent one and only Martinez and also by the very beautiful Desiree. You can join us every Friday where we talk our shh.
Hey Martinez, have you ever been in an entanglement that you didn't know you was tangled up in?
Damn, so an entanglement. I mean, I've had different situations. Oh man, women gonna hate me on this. So I've dealt with a married woman. I did that before. Yeah, I had a relationship with a catfish before. I had that.
Same.
I had a stalker before.
Same. And the person I did that with the same person. They were my stalker, my catfish, and my entanglement that was married.
That sucks for you. I got variety. You got the same motherfucker. So weird situation that I was in. I was actually in a crazy catfish relationship. But this chick got me like for real on some like Max and Neve shit. But this girl was like psychic. No, yeah, she was fucking crazy. But the thing is, this chick was, for some reason, in my life for like 2 years. Like, real solid. Like, she was yeah. So, but like, it was crazy because we lived in the same city or whatever. And she had me going through fucking missions and all type of shit. But it was like she knew how to target me. At the time, I had like this fetish for like Blasian girls. Like black and Asian. And then I live in Miami, like, we barely have Asian people, period, here. So, like, you feel me? It's not like Cali and stuff. So, like, she just added me one day and shit, and we just started chopping it up. And then I remember the first conversation we had, it was like fucking 5 hours and shit. But I'm not gonna give too much details, but like me and this girl had ended up getting real close and shit. And then like her whole life story was fucking crazy, bro. Like she was one of these girls. She needed like a Lifetime movie, bro. Like she had got raped by like everybody and everyone and shit. And that made me like empathize for her. So like me and her had ended up getting like mad cool and stuff. But like, yo, when I tell you this girl's crazy. And I never met her. But I ended up finding out who she was, because as the months progressed, you start going crazy and shit. So I started doing background checks and shit. I started like
you got it.
No, bro. Like I'm like, nah, you fucking with me, bro. And I had watched the Catfish movie. You feel me? So, yo, I know how to find y'all. I know how to find y'all shit. Like, I know how to do. If you're a registered voter in the state of Florida, I know how to pull up all type of information and shit. So,
ain't nobody finna slide in your DMs from Florida now. Nobody.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Yo, but this girl knew how to get me back, bro. This girl, she ended up being some other chick or whatever that I kind of like know who she is, but she did like witchcraft on me and all types of weird ass shit. No. Yeah, bro. I had to go to the church.
Get into this.
Yeah.
Bro.
No, real shit. Like
she put the santeria down on you, bro.
Funny shit is she said her mom did that shit, and she had a closet full of candles and pictures and a whole bunch of shit. Hey, let me tell you how weird the shit was. No, I would tell you how weird the shit was, because my grandma, she's real religious and shit. And she knew something was wrong, because the shit got so bad after she did the fucking witchcraft shit on me. And I'm gonna tell you that ties into another crazy story. I had 2 situations like this. So, real shit. I had to move out of state because everything in my life got fucked up here. I moved to Massachusetts. Yeah, so when I moved to Massachusetts, my grandma was real religious and shit. So she would come in the house, and when she would come in the house, I'll be chilling and watching TV, and she'll be silent. But as soon as the door opened, like I would start wigging the fuck out and all type of stuff. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And I remember I told her, I was like, yo, she's here, ain't she? Like I told my mom, and she was like, and then my grandma would come in the room, and I'm like, no, you gotta go. So
Ain't nothing like grandma's blessings. Like,
oh, true.
They be putting the sofrito on you. They be putting the holy sofrito on you.
Yeah, but that's how I knew. That's how real shit. Like my grandma's the one that got me out that shit. So basically, what happened was she kept coming and she tried to pray on me one time, and I started like shaking and shit. And she's like, "We need to take," because she's real Catholic and shit. So she's like, "We gotta get you to a priest." So she had took me to a priest. I talked to the priest for 5 hours because I really grew up in the church and stuff. And when I talked to him for 5 hours, he took me into, because like, she was in Boston. In Boston, they got those old school, like, cathedral churches and shit, right?
Yeah, with some heavy Irish accents where you feel like you're really
well, no. He's a Puerto Rican dude. But, he's a Puerto Rican dude. But he took me, he took me into the church.
I will bless you, Papi. I will bless you, Papi.
Yeah, like, yo, nene, like, if you don't want the devil on you, but está bien. We go to the iglesia and we go.
Lo sacamos.
Oh yeah, nene, pero whatever, right? But nah, like he took me into this empty ass cathedral, and he had took out like the body of Christ and all this other stuff, right? And he got it out of me, because like literally, like I was going to therapy and everything. I moved back to Florida.
Martinez had a fucking whole exorcism done on him.
Wow.
Yeah,
I believe
it was weird. No, it's real. But I'm gonna tell you how weird it got. So then I moved back to Florida, right? See, this is the thing. This is one thing that I really believe. I believe that when you are big in faith is when the biggest test of faith comes, or whatever.
That's so true.
Yeah, real talk. You know what I'm saying? So after that, what happened was I was chilling. Like, you know, I went through a lot of trials and tribulations, and I was living with my aunt. So I think that the devil knows how to get me, because sometimes women could be the biggest, biggest temptation for me. You feel me?
Oh, yeah.
So then he had put another girl in my life, but this girl was real, right? So this girl was a tattoo model, right? So this tattoo model, she was bad. She used to pose for magazines and everything, and I'm like,
So the devil knows how to give you delicious cheeks to tempt you.
Pretty much. So this girl, we linked up, and I was trying to slide in for like 2 weeks, right? So for 2 weeks, I was trying. I ain't getting no type of play or nothing. Then when we would go to the beach, we would get drunk and whatever. Like we never went that far. So this night, she was just horny. I don't know what it is or whatever. I knew I was going to hit because I was bored as fuck. And then like randomly, she got randomly drunk, and we were walking down the beach, and she kept looking into the sea, right? So she kept looking into the sea, and I'm like, what the fuck are you looking at, bro? It's nighttime. You can't even see shit. And she's like, do you see that? And I'm like, that random guy running, yeah, I see him. And then she's like, no, behind him. There's someone running behind him, and there was no one there. And I'm like, yo,
that is scary as fuck.
So I'm like, this bitch is crazy. These crazy bitches love me, right? So I was just thinking, like, well, what the fuck, right? So then, I guess worse. So then I'm like, yo, I gotta go home. I'm gonna take you home. So while I'm getting home, we get into my car, because I drove that day or whatever. So the girl, she randomly, as we're walking, she walks up to me. I'm ready to take her home, and she told me, oh, I don't have no panties on. When she told me she ain't got no drawers on, we weren't talking about panties. There was no panty conversation. There was no exchange of what type of underwears we was wearing and shit. Nah. So I'm like, oh, okay, my whole mood changed. It's like, all right, now we good. We is good. So then,
that's therapeutic. I ain't got no panties on. That's therapeutic.
I was like, we in there like this. We in there like the swimwear you do not have on. We good.
That's right.
So I pulled up to her crib and stuff, and then she's like, she's like, oh, do you want to come upstairs? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Like, what you mean? And then she's like, oh, I forgot. My mom's sleeping over, like I guess her and her mom was kind of living together, and then her daughter was upstairs. So then she's like, no, we can't do that. She's like, it's cool though. I know where we could go. So she takes me to this down this random random woods that's behind her her apartment complex, but it stretches down. It's stretched down like 3 miles. I shit you not. And if you don't believe me, I made a video about this, and it was a 10-minute video. Huh?
He's like, I got proof. I'm trying to kill you.
Nah, I was blinded. I was blinded by the pussy. I'm like, yo, let me fuck first. You could kill me after. You know, like, I'm gonna die happy. I'm gonna die happy. Fuck this shit. So we go, and she keeps walking and walking and walking and walking and walking, and then I'm like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And it went down for 3.5 minutes, but whatever, it went down. I was drunk. Don't blame me. Whatever, no, but so I smashed, and I'm like, all right, cool. I felt all accomplished and shit, but I didn't notice that we had already walked about 4 miles. So I'm like, we gotta walk back to the car? Fuck. So as we're walking back to the fucking car, she starts acting fucking weird as fuck. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, hold my sandals. And I'm like, why don't you have your sandals on your feet? I don't understand. Or whatever. So then I take her fucking sandals, and I'm like, I'm done with this crazy bitch. Whatever. I got the buns.
For real, what kind of beast is this?
She starts running, but she didn't run regular. She starts running fast as fuck. I'm like, damn, this bitch is a track star. It's like, this bitch is Usain Bolt. What the fuck? So
sprinting? What the fuck?
Yeah, she starts sprinting. So as she's sprinting, she just stops like a mile up. Like she just stops and she turns around and she looks right at me. So when she looks right at me, I look right at her and I'm like, what the fuck is this bitch looking at? And she starts charging at me. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna tackle me. She said, this is gonna tackle me, no. Right? And yeah. But then when she gets really close to me and then she runs around me. And she keeps running down. And when she keeps running down, like, she runs really fast, and I'm like, I'm not gonna, whatever, dog. Like, I'll leave your sandals by the car. I'm out of here, bro. So I keep walking. I'm like, I'm done. I shit you not. I walk up like half a mile more. I look off to the side. Remember, the bitch had ran past me. I look because there was a creek right next to this passageway. So it was woods, but there was a creek right next to it. I look into the creek. Guess what the fuck I see? I see Crazy Bitch. We're gonna call her Crazy Bitch. That's her name. Crazy Bitch was staring into the fucking pond and shit, or whatever the fuck that shit was. So I'm like, how the fuck did she get there? Did she telepath or whatever? You know what I'm saying? So I walk up to her and I'm like, hey, Crazy Bitch. I'm being nice at first. Crazy bitch, let's go. And she's not even paying me attention. She's just staring straight into, like, with a dead look on her face. So I'm like, crazy bitch. And then still nothing. So then I nudge her. I get real close to her and I nudge her. And then she don't move, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna push you into the fucking water because you pissing me off now. So then I like give her like I give her a decent shove, you know what I'm saying, like that, or whatever. And yeah, when I do that, she looks at me and she starts walking towards me really funny, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like this. So I start walking back up to the passageway as she's still walking towards me. And I'm like, yo, like, what are you doing? Are you good? We never drinking again. Like, I know that this is what we do. Like, we hang out and we drink, but, like, you don't know how to handle your liquor because you always act weird or whatever. And then she goes, oh. She was laughing like Beavis and Butthead, like, and I'm like, what? I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's how I felt. And I got so scared, I started doing the Our Father and shit. I'm like, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. So she started laughing. It gets worse. She starts laughing, and she's like, that shit don't work on me. In that voice. No bullshit. And I'm like, oh, no. So this girl was like 4'11". She was 4'11". I'm 5'11". I got a whole foot over her. So I'm like, yo, she kept getting close. I'm like, look, I don't hit women, but if you keep getting close like that, like, I'm gonna pretend like you ain't one. And I told her, I'm like, I swear I'll knock your little ass out, cause it's like you playing, like, or whatever. I told her like that, like, cause she was acting real weird and doing the laugh and all this stuff, and I'm like, it's either I, like, give a little uppercut or I'ma die. I don't know, like, or whatever. But she kept coming towards me, and I'm like, obviously I'm not really good at hitter, so I'm like, yo, look, chill. And then she's like, you need to go home. I'm like, say less. I'm like, say less. It's nothing. So we finally get to our car. It was like, I was power walking. She was walking with, like, the Thriller video and shit. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we end up getting to the car. Guess what? So when I put my pants down and we was doing whatever, my key came out of my pocket. Right? So I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Wow. So I can't find my key and my door.
In the scary movie, you gonna die?
Nah, so mind you, all the doors are locked, right? All the fucking doors are locked, and I'm like, yo, no. So she's like, you need to go home, and I'm like, listen, bitch, if I had my keys, I would have been home already. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this, it would have been a fucking rap. I would have been like your stupid ass fucking Moses sandals all the way the fuck over there. I would have got him a car and I would have cleared it. But no. So then we circle around my car because I ain't gonna let you get too close. Like, I don't know what the fuck you on right now. And then she was like, go home. And I'm like, listen, if I can't even get in my car. So she's like, so she starts playing with the window. No bullshit. And I swear, this is on everything I love. So she starts playing with the window and then she makes like a fist and then she puts her hand in the air. Right? So when she puts her hand in the air, all I hear is clink, 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 clink. All the doors unlocked. No bullshit. So then all the doors unlocked, and I'm like, fuck no. So I go and I open the door, and the door open. And
but did
so then
she have your
I get in the car.
Or
no,
she did that by herself?
No, this is a 1997 Toyota Corolla. It didn't power turn on. It didn't power turn on. Yes, it did.
Spiritual Thundercat move.
Facts, big facts. So then I get in my car and I'm like, I still can't drive.
Oh my gosh,
so when I get in the car, she gets in the fucking car. So then I look at her, she look at me, I look at her, and I'm like, all right. So at this point, I'm like, there's one of two things. I'm a person of faith. So it's either I play into this or I just start whatever. So I start mocking it. I'm like, can you get the fuck out of my car? Please, pretty please. Or whatever, like just fucking around. And she was like, whatever. And I'm like, yo, like for real, like what are we doing right now? Like, cause you acting real weird or whatever. And then I'm like, first off, who the fuck are you? Cause you're not the same girl that I was just playing with her butt cheeks 6 miles ago. So you're not the same person. And she was like, you know who the fuck I am. No bullshit. And obviously at that point, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So then I'm like, I start like praying and shit. Like, no lie, I start praying. And she starts having like convulsions and shit. And I was like, yo, what the fuck?
Real question, bro. Now, this is crazy. By the way, guys, like everyone listening, these are real stories. We're not making anything up. I haven't heard this before. Yeah, we talk. When we say this is the rawest podcast ever. My question to you is, do you think it's possible that first chick that did that voodoo on you?
Exactly what I was thinking.
Was literally like, metamorphosized?
No, and it's not the chick, it's the demon.
I never thought about that.
Demon.
That's the thing.
Bruh, you fucked the demon.
Converting over. Oh my gosh, dear Jesus.
I know. I don't want to do it no more.
Please block out these demons in our life.
Amen. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus.
Oh my God.
No.
By the way, this was years ago. I really got into faith after that. This is
years still. I'm not gonna lie. I had to look around me. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I got goosebumps. That not in a good way.
I got a little.
So whatever. Like she ended up having convulsions and shit, and then she kept looking in the back seat. Now, mind you, like I told you, I lived in my car or whatever. So I had at the time I was staying with my aunt, but all my shit was in my car. So I had boxes in the back, and then she kept looking in the back, and I'm like, she kept like turning into herself, and then doing like it was some weird shit. I'm like, yo, this bitch, she gotta be faking. I was like, yo, this is like a stupid Exorcist movie, right?
She was like fighting. She was fighting. Like the
so then she started laughing for like herself, right? So I'm like, bro, like what you laughing at, bro? It's 4 a.m, bro. Get the fuck out of my car, bro. So then she kept looking in the back, and then she was waving into the back, and then I'm like, who the fuck are you waving at, bruh? And then she's like, right there. I'm like, this box, it was a big ass box, I remember. It had a whole bunch of like my old childhood shit that I ended up losing later on, but it had like old VHSs and stupid shit that I would just carry with me for like, whatever. I had lost everything at that point, so I needed the fucking box. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever, and I'm like, there's a box, and she's like, no, it's my grandpa. I'm like, your grandpa? I never met your fucking grandpa. And then her grandpa ended up dying like years ago or whatever, and whenever she had one of them trips, she told me later on she would see her grandpa or whatever. Oh God.
Communication with her?
Fuck no! I never talked to her after that day. Are you crazy?
What are we trying to do with our lives? No.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I was mad because the pussy was good though. I was like, what the fuck, man? But no, like it.
They be talking about demon dick. You had demon pussy.
That's crazy, bruh.
Yeah, man. So that shit had fucking happened and shit. And then, you know, after that, you know what I'm saying, most of the girls that I done talked to have been just regular crazy or whatever.
Don't forget to come and join us every Friday for some amazing ass raw stories. Stay tuned for part 2 of some really crazy entanglements. Bye.